this a bit because it's good in some ways, but I'm kind of out of focus. I didn't plan ahead very well. I apologize. Okay, that's better. And then this, tilt this back. Okay. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So this is going to be for the water signs. Water signs. That is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Pisces. I'm using a bootleg Russian deck today. It's called the Magical Tarot of Fate. And I love it because it's a bunch of like old sci-fi novel covers. So I couldn't resist. So yes, I am aware that this is a very bootleg deck. So we're also going to clear the space with this Florida water. And it's good for soothing the skin, but it also has a lot of the same active ingredients as traditional Florida water. So we're going to use it for cleansing. I really like using this. I feel like it's very effective, and the smell is just divine. So yeah, isn't that lovely? It's very nice. So I'm going to start with the sign of Cancer. And Cancer, if you would, just relax. You can, if you like, take some deep cleansing breaths. Hi, Malik. Welcome. As you inhale, imagine the divine white light of Source entering through the crown of your head and melting all the way through your body, down through the soles of your feet and into the ground. And then as you exhale, just sigh out any tension, any stress you've been holding on to, any physical discomfort. It doesn't work outright for pain necessarily, but if you're holding tension in your body and it is causing strain, just kind of sigh that out and allow that energy to return to Source, and Source will transmute it into pure divine white light. So I'm just using the one deck today. And I don't read Russian, so I think I pretty much know, because the elemental signs are on the cards also. Okay, So I am going to, of course, write down the timestamps. Okay. And Cancer, let's start in the past. We have the Four of Swords reversed. So there was a time in the past where you were resting. I don't know if we necessarily see this here. It looks like this person has been kidnapped by a gigantic green half primate sort of a fellow. It's good to see you again, Malik, as well. And then is going to be rescued by this guy. But the Four of Swords in the reverse in the past like this can indicate a time where you were taking a break from things and getting lots of rest and recuperation. But that time has ended, so now we're coming into the present situation. Oh, these cards have a fabulous texture. That's really good. We have the Queen of Wands. So you could be putting yourself out there in a very confident way. You could be attracting a lot of people to you at this time, Cancer, as well, with your charisma. This is crossed by the Five of Pentacles. So even though you're attracting people to you with your charisma, it could be that you feel like you're kind of out in the cold in certain situations, or that you've been left behind. Five of Pentacles is a card having to do with financial hardship. But if you are bringing that Queen of Wands energy, it looks like you're not coming from a place of scarcity. So that's very good for you at this time, Cancer. Let's talk now about the MMCLI. So in the 12 houses wheel, down at the bottom, the cusp of the third and fourth houses is called the MMCLI, and it indicates all of the foundations and origins of situations that you will then be seeing again up in the midheaven. So what we have in the MMCLI for you today, Cancer, we have the Seven of Swords, and it's showing up reversed. So this could be a situation where some dishonesty has been uncovered, some treachery. Maybe somebody was trying to deceive or swindle you, and that has been thwarted, Cancer. So that's good. It actually is good that it's showing up like this. And it could have to do with this Five of Pentacles for some of you. Like if somebody owes you money and they thought that they weren't going to have to pay you back, that might be coming back around again. From your perspective, Cancer, we have the Temperance card reversed. So this card has to do with situations where you're practicing a craft to get very good at it. It can be about patience, balance, and moderation. And because Cancer, this card is showing up for you in the reverse here. I think that you're not being very patient at this time. Typically, the Temperance card reversed is about impatience. It could also be about needing. So now let's move on to an outsider's perspective on the situation. We did talk about how there might be certain skills that you might have to hone, and how you might be lacking patience at this time. From the outside looking in, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So this Ace of Pentacles could be somebody wanting to offer you an opportunity to make money. It is similar in some ways to the Page of Pentacles. And this could be coming from an outside source because that's the position we're seeing here. So that would be a great help in this situation. And you're probably drawing this in based on charisma and possibly some kind of talent. We're looking at the future. I think everything is back now. Let me know if you can't see or hear me. So in the future, Cancer, we have the Knight of Swords. Sorry. So the Knight of Swords in the future in the reverse. This is a card about very binary thinking. Oh, awesome. Thank you. You could be overly limited and not parsing out discernment the way that a King of Swords would, right? Knight of Swords can be associated with like what they call cancel culture, that people are just cutting off other people, cutting them out of their lives without due cause sometimes. Now, this card in the reverse in the future, it could be that you need to cut through a lot of things in order to move forward as well. So this would be a little bit different from the Ace of Swords, in that the Ace of Swords is about creating action in your own life. But the Knight of Swords is very much about that stay or go, like making two piles and getting rid of everything in the go pile. So that could be something that is required to help you move forward. And especially if we're seeing some kind of deception that's being uncovered, there might be people around you who are not very trustworthy. So that's something to consider, Cancer. Here in your hopes and fears, we have the Ten of Swords. So being afraid that everything might come to a crashing halt, that there might be a painful ending. But that's not necessarily what I'm seeing here. That's just the fear. And if you always have the fear of everything ending looming over your head, it's really going to taint your perceptions of your everyday life. So everything is not going to end. So there's no need to be impatient. In this case, it could be letting you know that any delays are in your favor. So now we're going to be looking at the midheaven. And this is going to be a result of whatever this deception is being uncovered, Cancer. We have the Two of Cups in the reverse. So the Two of Cups can be a card about relationships, close bonds between two people. When it's reversed like this, the potential is there in the future. So, for those of you who are single, once you have uncovered this deception, perhaps someone new will be coming into your life. Or perhaps you have recently become single on account of a deception being uncovered. I know sometimes that's the case. The possibility is there. It has not fully come to fruition yet, though. So this is not a guaranteed relationship coming into your life or a guaranteed friendship. It might also have to do with how you handle things, as the Knight of Swords. That if you're too harsh with people, they're going to be pushed away from you. And finally, Cancer, now we have gotten to the final outcome. And the final outcome that we have is the Three of Cups. And that also is reversed. The Three of Cups is about very close friendships. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the reading, these are all basically like sci-fi art and fantasy. Like a lot of these have been used for fantasy book covers and sci-fi book covers. My spouse recognized one of his favorite books in here, but I really enjoy using this deck for that reason. So the illustrations don't necessarily line up exactly with the meaning. But we have this Three of Cups here in the reverse as the final outcome. It can be about close friendships. It can be about forging close alliances with other people, which, as the Queen of Wands, you would excel at. What it looks like currently as your future prognosis is that you have the potential to bring some very close relationships and alliances into your life in the coming times. And I think the key is going to be making room for that. And that's why we're seeing, where this deception is being uncovered. We're seeing this Knight of Swords also coming out, that you really need to understand within yourself what it is that you're seeking out in companionship, because that is what you're going to be drawing towards you. And also understanding that the money will be there. Somebody will be making an offer to you when you need it. And that everything is not going to come to a crashing halt. So be a little bit more patient, Cancer, at this time. So that concludes the Cancer reading for the day, and I will put the timestamp down below, not just for when the reading begins, but I will also make a note of where you can skip to bypass the little glitch. And I also want to mention that after this, I'm going to go over to the members side of the channel and do crystal scrying. So if that interests you, you are cordially invited. So now we're going to read for the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio, 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 Scorpio. And Scorpio, if you would just relax, take some deep breaths, and imagine, if you'd like, that the divine white light of Source is filtering down, melting through your entire body into the ground below you with each inhale. And then as you exhale, just sigh out any tension, any stress, any strain, anything that you've been holding on to. allow it to return to source and be transmuted. Now we're going to get into the reading. I really like these floppy sleeves. Like, they look really cool, but then when I'm trying to do things, they kind of get in the way. So it's much more of a garment that I think was meant for the leisure class. I don't know how people wear these to play guitar and such. People calling me that I don't know. All right, Scorpio. Let me make a note of your timestamp. So we're going to begin here in the past. Yeah, I do get like that sometimes, especially doorknobs. I'm being kidnapped. We have the Queen of Swords, and she's showing up reversed in the past. So the Queen of Swords is about speaking one's truth. It could be that you had to be a whistleblower in a situation. This could also be that you had to confront somebody and say, look, your behavior towards me or X, Y, or Z circumstance is unsustainable for me. And I need for you to know this. So you might have had to confront somebody about something. And this is showing up in the reverse. So it's possible that this situation has been resolved now. The Queen of Swords showing up in the reverse. So she's in the past. But there is the possibility for some of you, because it's a general reading, that this Queen of Swords could be somebody who's kind of ruthless, and they've come into your life recently and are doing things. So I kind of get an inkling it's more of the former, but we'll have to keep reading to find out. So we have, I think this is the page. Let's see. Oh, I have the little booklet in here. I need to get that out because I don't speak Russian, so I need to be able to figure out which ones are the pages and which ones are the kings and such. But they don't say Corona. They say, anyway, I think this is the page of water. We have the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man, you can see they're kind of like falling through space. There's suspension there. There is stagnancy in situations. There's also the idea that you're undergoing this particular period of self-sacrifice as a way of kind of reaching a higher state of understanding or learning. The Hanged Man is elemental water energy. So we also have I believe this is the Page of Cups, crossing, which can be an offer from someone. So it could be, and let me just confirm that that's the case. I hope you'll beg my pardon. I'm going to get out my Google Glass. let's see. If this takes too long, I'm not going to mess with it. But yeah, I'm not going to worry about that too much. The Page of Cups, you could have been made an offer, and you're thinking about it, and you kind of feel like you're not able to move forward as far as whether or not you're actually going to take this offer. Does that say Pharaoh? It might be the King of Cups. I do apologize for having picked this deck and not speaking Russian. So, another scenario is that if this is the King of Cups. Oh, yeah, they're so much fun. So I think this is Pharaoh. That's what the letters are. But it could be that you are in this state of self-sacrifice and suspension because you are taking care of others around you as well. So that would make a lot more sense. And perhaps this is what you had to speak your mind about previously. That's why the Queen of Swords is showing up here. Down here in the MMC Live. So this is going to be the origins and foundations of what we end up looking at in the realm of the destiny in the midheaven. And we do have the death card here. So there is a great deal of transformation going on. That you are kind of in suspension here with this watery energy. But that other things around you are being transformed. From your perspective, we have the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is a card of exodus. It is a card of leaving a situation. Now, this card is reversed. So again, we're coming back to this idea that you kind of feel like your hands are tied in a certain situation and that you're not able to move forward the way that you feel you should. And it could be, as we said with the King of Cups, that the people, you feel like too many people are relying on you, and that's why. From an outsider's perspective, we have the Nine of Pentacles. And this Nine of Pentacles is upright. So people see you as financially independent. They see you as very stable. They see you as having more than enough for yourself. And it's entirely possible that that's true. And that's why you've kind of been cast in this King of Cups role. But that doesn't mean that you necessarily are responsible for the well-being of others beyond yourself. Here in the future, we have the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. So this Eight of Pentacles could be showing up in the future reversed like this because maybe you are up for tenure. Maybe you are up for a promotion at your job. This is a card of employment stability, long-term careers. So it's showing up reversed here because this is not an assured outcome. Perhaps you don't think that you are going to get this promotion, or you don't think that you are qualified to get tenure or something like that. but I do see here that the potential is there for that. It could also be that in the future you decide to change career paths entirely. So, those are going to be two different opportunities for you, and that is why the card is showing up reversed. It is, after all, a general reading. In the hopes and fears, we have the Two of Pentacles. So, this card is about balance. And it could be that you're very much trying at this time to put things into balance in your own existence, that you're hoping things will balance out. Because perhaps you have some people around you that you've had to establish boundaries with, but you don't want to leave them high and dry, so you're still kind of in this stasis, right? And that's a very typical situation in careers. So it would make sense for the Eight of Pentacles to be showing up as something you have a choice about. There could be a lot going on in that particular field right now, or within your workplace. So it's possible both ways that that if the field itself that you work within is not stable, you might not feel like you have a lot of opportunity to move to a different company. And likewise, within your particular company, it might be that you feel like, well, if I just give things a little bit of time, everything will settle out, and then I can make my own informed decisions from there. Up here in the midheaven, so this is going to be the eventual outcome of this particular situation, and it's going to be based on all of this transformation and change that's going on around you while you remain suspended like this. And that is this is either the Justice card or the Strength card. So let me see if it says in the book which one is which. I don't actually read Russian, but I guess I can understand the letters a little bit. I've been studying Coptic and like the Greek alphabet, and all of those are very similar. So I think that even in here they put, because 11 and 8 in the decks are interchangeable. Oh, it's possible. But it could also be strength. But I think in this case it probably is justice, because I think that's why they're clarifying it like this. But that you could read it either way, perhaps, in this particular deck. The way that they have it listed here, they have 8 in parentheses next to 11. But if it is justice in the midheaven position, it could be reversed like this because the outcome is pending. So it's going to depend heavily on how all of this plays out. And really, of all of the cards that showed up in the reading today, like this death card in the Imam Silai just tells me that there is a lot of, throughout the world, honestly, there's a lot going on that is in flux because of everything that's happened over the past couple years. And then something interesting pertaining specifically to Americans is that the Pluto return of the country of the United States is coming up later this week on 2/22/22. So that is going to be a very interesting period of time for those of us in the United States. Pluto will be moving into the sign of Aquarius. So for you Scorpios, that is a squared fixed energy. But I think a lot of us probably have Pluto in, if you're a little bit older than me, your Pluto would be in Virgo, and then my Pluto's in Libra. And then if you're a little bit younger, it's possible that your Pluto would be in Scorpio. Yeah, there's a lot going on as far as that's concerned. But I don't think that this necessarily means that there will be injustice for you in a situation because of all of that turmoil and flux that is going on. And we'll get to the final card because perhaps that will give us a little bit of extra guidance as far as what would be, yeah, same. As far as what would be the best course of action for you to take, because it's not really ideal to stay kind of suspended, especially if you feel like people are relying on you. So the final outcome that we have for your reading today, Scorpio, is the Seven of Pentacles, and it's showing up reversed. And for those of you who are new to my channel, those of you who are returning might remember that I say this often, that I call the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse the quit your job card, because what it's saying to you is that the amount of work and effort that you're putting into a situation is not equivalent to the compensation that you're receiving in return. And there's not really, this is showing up in the future. So theoretically, you could say that the potential for this exists. But because of the nature of evaluation, the nature of this energy that you're expending, right? It wouldn't really lend itself to that kind of interpretation. So the way that I would interpret that overall is to leave that situation. All right, Scorpio, thank you for joining me today. And I am going to be heading over to the member side of the channel after I finish the readings. And I'm going to do some crystal scrying. So if that interests you, you are cordially invited. And so now we're going to move on to the sign of Pisces. And Pisces, if you would, just relax. Oh, of course. Well, you can stay quit. That's for sure, too. Pisces, if you would like, you can take some nice, deep, relaxing breaths. And you can envision, if you'd like, that the divine white light of Source is filtering down, melting through your entire body as you take each breath, and down into the ground beneath your feet. And then as you exhale, just sigh out any energy that you don't want to hold on to anymore, any kind of burdens that you've been carrying, any anxiety. Just exhale, let it go, and allow it to return to Source. And and that it will be transmuted when it gets back there. So you don't even have to worry about it anymore. Oh, let me write down your timestamp. All right, so 41:50. So in the past year, oh, thank you so much, Captain Holtz. I really appreciate your support. We have the Chariot card in the upright in the past for you, Pisces. And this is an excellent energy to have coming into the present situation. It symbolizes mobility, and it also indicates victory in a situation. So you would already know what this situation is. You could be planning a move and you just got approved for a new apartment, or to sign a contract on something. All of those things are possible. Hopefully they'll leave a message. And so moving into the current situation, what we have is the Seven of Wands. That now, because of this victory, you have attained a vantage point that others are envious of, and they might be coming after you on account of that. This is crossed by the Moon card, and this card looks so cool in this deck. That's why I wanted to use these cards. The Moon is about unclear paths, but it can also be about creative endeavors, Pisces. And I know Pisces are often involved in things like music or the visual arts. So if you're involved in something like that, that's the environment in which this is occurring. That perhaps you are going on a big tour, or you have a showing of your work, or you're working with a certain celebrity. All of those things are possible. For those of you who are Pisces who are not involved in artistic fields per se, the Moon card can also be that the path right now is kind of obscure and unclear. And so because you have reached this pinnacle, it is a bit of a vantage point. You might be able to see a little bit better than others what the future holds, but you might also not know for yourself the proper way to move forward. So that's a possibility at this time. Down here in the Imam Silai, so that's the cusp of the 3rd and 4th houses on the 12 houses spread, which I like to lay out in my mind on top of the Celtic cross spread. And this talks about all of the origins and foundations of what we're going to be looking at in the future when we look at your destiny. So we have here the 9 of Wands. And the 9 of Wands is about guarding things, guarding, not necessarily a defensive card, but it is going to be very similar to the 7 of Wands energy. That what you have attained, now you are defending that position. From your perspective, we have the Fool, and he's showing up in the reverse. So that tells me that at this time, you are not falling victim to naivete, that you have your eyes open. You're going into situations. Oh, hi, Justin. Thank you for coming. You're going into situations with your awareness about you. You're not ignoring red flags or warning signs at this time. Pisces, it looks like you've gotten quite a few fire or wand energy cards in your reading today. So perhaps you have fire signs in your chart elsewhere. We have the King of Wands showing up. So from other people's perspective, they could see you in this energy, Pisces. Hi, Baptiste. Thank you for coming. That you're very charismatic, you're an excellent leader, and you use creativity for problem solving. So all of those things are possible when other people view you, Pisces. Here in the future, we have the Knight of Cups. So this Knight of Cups energy, it's all about trusting your gut. You could be coming to a place in the near future where you're not trusting your gut as much. There's also the potential in the future that you'll be trusting it more. But because of the way that emotional states are read, it's not as useful to speculate on future emotional states in their potential, right? It's much more functional in a reading to read on the emotional state that appears to be present, which would be that either you're not trusting your gut in the future or that you are being a little hard on yourself. Oh, yes, I do. The 3 signs per day so that I don't get too tired. And I just do them for the astrological signs. So it could be like sun, moon, rising. Sometimes I'll watch videos for my North Node. But I want to thank you for your appreciation. So it could also mean that in the future you're being too hard on yourself, or that you're allowing your emotions to spill over into other people's existence. So let's find out some more about that. What's up here in your hopes and fears? We have the King of Swords. So being super objective. You always want to be very highly discerning in these situations. Have a mind for not just right and wrong, but the moral gray areas in between. When we're looking at the Knight of Swords, of course, that's somebody who has a very dichotomous discernment, that it's either right or it's wrong, and if you're in between, you're just wrong. But with the King of Swords, this is somebody, like you hear about King Solomon, the wise, and the way that he made choices based on how he observed people to behave. So this showing up in your hopes and fears is very opposed to what we're seeing here in the potential future situation in some ways. But I think it clarifies it as well, such that if you're not trusting your intuition, if you're trying to be too cold and logical about things, you're not really playing to your strengths, Pisces. And that might be an additional factor where we see all of these fire sign cards showing up in your reading and this King of Swords in your hopes and fears, that you're really, it's wonderful that you're trying to expand yourself emotionally. And that is definitely a Pisces trait. But don't forget how intuitive you are to the way that other people feel, and how intuitive you are when it comes to these situations that crop up in your life. That it's okay to listen to your intuition. You can then take a step back, parse that out, figure out, where am I really coming from here? But you don't have to be so cold and logical that you disregard your own gut feelings and what's in your heart. So the outcome of what we're seeing here with some of this, it's not, I wouldn't call it turmoil, but it is definitely the fallout from this chariot, this victory. And not necessarily looking at it that way, that it's fallout, but just that you're going to be on people's radar now in a way that you haven't before. And some people might be attacking you at this time for that. That when we get up here to your destiny, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And that is a great card to get for your destiny. It means fortune turning in your favor. It's very favorable. Jupiter rules this card. And in the arcane astrology, Jupiter is the ruler of not just Sagittarius, but also your sign of Pisces. Now that we've discovered more planets in the solar system past Saturn, Neptune also has been assigned Pisces. But Jupiter in Pisces is expansion and growth, especially regarding emotional states. So we see that here with all these other cards where you are kind of trying to grow certain parts of yourself, not relying as much on intuition and gut feelings. The final outcome here is a potential energy where we have the Queen of Pentacles. So you could also have earth sign energy in your chart. The Queen of Pentacles is water of earth energy. So that is the watering of the fertile soil so that things will grow. It's a card of fertile proliferation. And it's almost opposite. It's pretty opposite to how people are seeing you right now, right? So that if you're able to pull off this great trick of completely changing your personality, Pisces, that it increases your potential for earning in the future. Now, this card is reversed. So sometimes that can mean that the money's not coming. But in this particular case, I take the reversal much more to be indicative that this card is a potential, but it's not preordained. I don't want to say fixed or like that this is going to happen, because of course that's not how reading the tarot necessarily works. None of these things are promised to us. But it's encouraging you that the potential is there if you're able to tap into some of your different energies and not just rely on intuition. So if you know about your chart, or you can even go and look up your natal chart online if you have all of your birth information, you can look at where your different placements are and maybe meditate on some of those, especially like your Jupiter placement. Find out where your Jupiter is. And because we do have, the Wheel of Fortune is all about fortune turning in your favor. So Jupiter and your North Node placements would be a good place to look for inspiration. Look at the house that it's located in, and also look at the astrological sign that lines up with that particular house in your chart. So that is going to conclude all of the water sign readings for today. And we did have a couple of hiccups, so I do apologize for that, but I think overall it was pretty smooth. And now I'm going to be going over to the member side of the channel, and I'm going to be doing some crystal scrying for the water signs in general. So if you are cordially invited, but your presence in any form it takes is always greatly appreciated. Appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.